State governance is anything but an ordinary affair. It's an art, a science in its own right. Not everyone can govern a state.
It's
impossible to forget the date of your meeting with the president. It was November 21st, 1998, strangely enough. I call it from one feast of St. George to another.
The
year of 1998 was a turning point in Shevardnadze's rule. Formally, the revolution took place in November. In reality, it started in 1998. I recall the events related to the adoption of constitutional amendments in 1998. It was a full-fledged struggle for power.
Მას ჰქონდა ეს ინფორმაციები დაწყებული ერთი წლით ადრე ამ ინფორმაციების უკვე ძალიან ესე ვთქვათ აქტუალიზება მოხდა თუ შეიძლება იმიტომ რომ
He had this information. A year earlier, this information became relevant because trainings were launched in several locations, and I kept him in the loop on these developments. Then there were the notorious Skvarachamya seminars, during which the Kamara Enough movement was shaped and plans were made for various activities, including demoralizing police forces and picketing their stations. For example, he seemed very concerned after familiarizing himself with the Kamara materials I supplied him with in June. Not that he was concerned about losing power. No, he said, it's very dangerous. It may trigger a civil war.
ის კი არ თქვა რომ ეს აუშვათ ხელისუფლებას დავკარგავთ რაღაცა და ესო ძალიან საშიშიაო ესო სამოქალაქო ომთან შეიძლება მივიდეთ ასეო რა
თავრობა იყო არაეფექტური კორუფცია იყო საკმაოდ მაღალი
The government was ineffective with overwhelming corruption in higher echelons. Naturally, it was impossible to solve this problem overnight, and it only makes sense that I was very critical toward many officials at the time. I believed, and still believe, that Shevardnadze deserved a better posse, especially in later years.
But
who were they? It cracked me up when they, the parliament speaker or minister, spoke about authorities. But who are you? They criticized the authorities, pretending that Shevardnadze was the only authorities. And yesterday, he was like a father to you, your mentor. It's so easy to point the finger at the leader while waiving your personal liability. If everything is Shevardnadze's fault, why do you claim credit for everything good he has done? This is political selfishness.
A
group was formed within the governing elite, and this group believed that they could take over top positions earlier than it was objectively possible. They really got ahead of themselves. Like, oh, I'm a politician now, but I must burst your bubble. Sometimes it takes decades to evolve into a politician, a true politician capable of thinking things through. One official I met with in America, whose identity I'd rather keep confidential, asked me, I bet you know whom Shevardnadze has designated as his successor. Is it a family member? I replied, absolutely not, no way. Yes, we know that much, but who is it? I don't know, I said. The official laughed. What do you mean you don't know? Well, there's no designated successor per se. To which he replied, very bad, because it's a must.
გაეცინათ რომ როგორ ახლა არა მე ვთხარი ესეთი გამოკვეთილი მომენტი რო იყოს რომ ახლა ისე გუმანით ჭორით რამე არ არის ესეთი ძალიან ცუდიო მე მითხრა
This conversation took place in September 2001. My conversation partner was a very important figure in the United States, so I told Shevardnadze all about it.
ფიგურა იყო ამერიკისთვის ეს პიროვნება, რომ ამ საუბრის შედეგი მეუთხარი ბატონ ედვარდს. მეუთხარი რომ ესეთი ამბავია თქვა.
ახლა რომ გითხრათ არ ფიქრობ ამ თემაზე,
insisting that I'm not considering it would make me look irresponsible. Of course, I've given it a lot of thought. Even if I have decided that one particular person should become president of Georgia, I have not decided. There are a few people I respect for their erudition, training, and experience. He said, if I single out someone, that person will be skinned and eaten alive, and who knows what else. You know how things work around here, don't you? If someone distinguishes himself, everyone's ready to cut his throat, deservedly or undeservedly. In hindsight, he probably should have expedited the process. If he did, there would have been a real rat race on the political scene, much the way it happened in Saakashvili's case after the revolution. As a president acceded to pressure, Finance Minister Iacobidze was removed, and so was the president of the National Bank, effectively paving the way for a group of young reformers who spared no effort to weaken governmental institutions, in this way making it easy for themselves to grab power 2-3 years later.
პროკურატურის ორგანოებში პრაქტიკულად ყველა ამ საკითხების გარეგულირება დაგსაქსვა ორგანოების
Badri Bitsadze, first Deputy Prosecutor General, was assigned to the task of overhauling and dividing the prosecuting agencies into individual units. Consequently, all mechanisms for taking principled measures were lost. The same happened in the case of security agencies.
ესე ვთქვათ, დემოკრატიის ნიღბით ხდება ცვლილებები სისხლის სამართლის საპროცესო კანონმდებლობაში.
Criminal procedure legislation was amended under the guise of democracy, with the balance between individual rights and national interests blatantly subverted. This was followed by the General Administrative Code and the young reformers' attempt to appoint all judges single-handedly, as they saw fit, which they eventually did.
ეს პრაქტიკულად ასეც მოხდა. მიუხედავად იმისა, რომ პრეზიდენტი ნიშნავდა მოსამართლეებს,
although it was the president who appointed judges, most of them were candidates nominated by the young reformers.
მიერ წარმოდგენილი კანდიდატურები.
იყო ძირითადად კონკრეტულად იმ მოთავეების იზოლირებისაგან.
Basically, it called for isolating the leaders and their replacement. But he would not do this to avoid making things worse. Later he said, it's your young age talking, but this is not the way to do it. Otherwise, the highest level of democracy, and I repeat, the highest level of democracy, which has been established in Georgia, would never become a reality. To my comments, he replied, it must happen. We must go through it all, and people must come to this conclusion on their own. In many cases, however, this liberal approach smelled of chaos. He always took time to make decisions. He told me this fantastic phrase, sleep on it.
ის არასოდეს არ იღებდა სპონტანურ გადაწყვეტილებებს. თითქმის ყველა გადაწყვეტილება, რომელიც მე მინახავს, რომლის მიღების
He never made spontaneous decisions. Every decision I've witnessed being made were based on serious considerations, never impulsive.
რაციონალურად ძალიან ბევრ რამეს ხედავდა. იქ, სადაც ის მსჯელობდა თითქმის უშეცდავად. ნაბიჯების გადადგმა ისეთის, როგორც საჭირო იყო.
He saw many things rationally. His reasoning was nearly flawless. He took steps that eventually proved right and necessary. He found himself in trouble because of his humane characteristics that backfired on him with swift retaliation. He made concessions to others, and that eventually caught up with him.
სენტიმენტები ეს ვთქვათ
He seemed to have acquired a taste for sentiments and human bonding. By the time you reach my age, you're likely to be able to judge people's loyalty. I can see who has been loyal and who has not. Of course, he took it to heart, especially at the beginning, when you bet on a political figure and then he backstabs you. He gave this politician a chance to avoid going down this road, but he insisted on going his own way. It was his choice, and Shevardnadze dealt with it in an absolutely pragmatic way.
Halati იყო იცით ეს რასაკვირველია, როდესაც ადამიანი თulis თავს რომ
It is a betrayal when someone, knowing that Shevardnadze is the most effective calling card, boasts being under his wing in relations with foreigners and calls Shevardnadze father. You can check the speeches of the leaders of that coup. It's all on tape.
I watched
this so-called group of reformers eventually take charge of the events that followed. I watched their speeches, and I listened to their rhetoric. I kept an eye on their radical statements, and then they returned to attend meetings here, acting like totally different people. I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I still can't.
და საერთოდ სხვა ადამიანები იყვნენ. ეს რა ხდებოდა ხოლმე ვერ ვიგებდი, იცით, აი მართალი გითხრათ, დღემდე ვერ ხსნი, ეს ისევ ის მომენტი იყო.
Given Shevardnadze's personality, they changed their ways when dealing with him face to face. Outside they were much bolder, and their rhetoric changed dramatically.
გარეთ და მოდიოდნენ იქ და იქ სულ სხვანაირი ხდებოდა ეს რიტორიკა.
ხდებოდა, ესე ვთქვათ, საზოგადოებრივი აზრის ფორმირება იმგვარად,
Public opinion was shaped in a way that left no room for reversal. There were problems, such as the infamous case of Rustavi II, though no batons and raids were involved. Related to taxes or politics, it was contained within the boundaries of media-state relations.
ერთს გეტყვით, ახლა როდესაც კანონიერებაზე ლაპარაკობენ, ეს აბსოლუტურად თითიდან გამოწვეული სისულელია, რატომ?
Let me tell you that all this talking about legitimacy is plucked out of thin air, because when Saakashvili came to power, the first thing he did was request this case and referred it to the court. It was unprecedented. The court said that Rustavi II was in the right, and nothing could be done about it. There were actual violations and excesses indicative of illegal behavior on the part of Rustavi II. Years later, it became known that Irosi Kitsmarashvili had accrued millions in debt, subsequently filing for and declaring bankruptcy on behalf of Rustavi II.
Parlamentis mașineli თავმჯდომარე, იმის შემდგომი თავმჯდომარე. პირველები მიიჭრენ რუსთავი II-ში და გადაიტანეს ეს.
The then parliament speaker and his future successor were the first to have politicized this issue, actually doing what Rustavi II had been trying to achieve for years. This in turn set the stage for a political crisis in Georgia. Before the parliamentary elections, some opposition forces labeled them as Edward Shevardnadze's farewell elections, but apparently you're taking your time leaving. I'm in no hurry. Presidential election was scheduled for the spring of 2000, shortly after parliamentary elections. He was planned to make his victory in the presidential election look unconvincing. He was supposed to win, but not by a large margin. This was their goal. Over 5 months, starting in October, 60 Minutes News and Rustavi II in general launched fierce character assassination efforts against Edward Shevardnadze, his family, and associates.
Edward Shevardnadze mis ოჯახზე, მის ასე ვთქვათ, გარემოცვაზე და ასე შემდეგ და ასე შემდეგ. და ამას მოყვა სწორედ ესე თქვა ეგრეთ წოდებული ცნობილი დაპირისპირება უშიშროების საბჭოზე.
This was followed by the infamous run-in between Zvanya and Sajaya at the Security Council's meeting, during which Sajaya brought up this issue and openly accused Zvanya of wanting Shevardnadze to claim a landslide victory, to use subsequent developments to his advantage. Incidentally, if there was a decent person in his entourage, it must have been Sajaya. Everything was done to distance Shevardnadze from his main source of strength and support, Nugzar Sajaya. In fact, the real target of the media smear campaign against Sajaya was Shevardnadze himself. He must have been genuinely disheartened by this moral terror, something we usually failed to notice. But when we did notice it, we encouraged him. Apparently, he folded under pressure and betrayed his homeland. It's 2003, there's already a split, with the younger faction eager to assume power. Saakashvili was visiting one of the centers in the United States. There's the Nixon Center, also the Carter Center, and many others. I've been to some of them. So as he was visiting one such center, he went on doing a hatchet job on me, which I could not accept, not in the US, Germany, and the West in general. He said, yes, Shevardnadze has accomplished some things, but the man is exhausted beyond belief. You know, I didn't get upset. He may get tired, and I may get tired too. If we're talking about physical fitness, I can't outrun him. The thing is that with parliamentary elections approaching, Shevardnadze founded a new party, more of a bloc. Baker once told him in private, I didn't want to bring this up, but you know how much the United States appreciates you. You've played a major role in the establishment of a new world order and ending the Cold War. So they're kind of wondering why you would need to create a new bloc. Then there's another issue. Maybe you're afraid of being prosecuted afterward? You know, bringing former leaders to justice is a common practice. If that's what you're afraid of, we totally guarantee that it won't happen. He disregarded Baker's words and resumed talking about the system. In politics, it's win some, lose some, but this cannot impact interpersonal relationships. If you ask me, Mr. Shevardnadze's responses were not always exhaustive. He would say that yes, I want to continue the Western trajectory, and that's what the bloc will do. It was strictly about the establishment of a new party and the expiration of Shevardnadze's term. Generally, the idea of breaking the election cycle is wrong in the first place.
Looking
back, I can assure you that things look differently when you're in your office, surrounded by concrete people. Anyone, however big as a person, depends on others with whom he has contact and who keep him updated. You know what? There's always your entourage too. I told him about this bloc and listed its members. And then I said, you expect these people to continue the Western trajectory? He just smiled without saying a word. Eventually, he told the whole truth about it to someone else. He said, I was planning to leave politics for good, but 3 political scientists approached me and asked me to start a new political party because they didn't want the newly emerged force to take over. They feared for their careers and all.
მათ არ უნდათ რომ ამ ახალ ძალას აეღო ძალაუფლება, იმიტომ რომ ეშინოდათ უკვე საკუთარი კარიერისა და რა ვიცი მე ყველანი შიში იყო გაჭერილი.
The fear was overwhelmingly all-encompassing. But there was more. When McCain, Strobe Talbot, and Shalikashvili arrived in Georgia, Shevardnadze was caught by surprise, wondering what compelled such important figures to pay a joint visit. What's happening? Actually, it was all about his new bloc. He was a man with an impeccable reputation, a Democrat who voiced a strong opinion during the putsch in Moscow, and who had made a name for himself as a true Democrat. But what if this man decided to cling to power with assistance from this new party? In fact, he was no longer the master of his own fate. Now it was all about his entourage. I remember someone quoted Edward, "If this Armenian gang comes to power, we'll rot in jail."
ნოემბერს დილით მე დამირეკა პრეზიდენტმა და მითხრა რომ მას შეხვდა ზურაბ ჟვანი, რომელმაც კატეგორიულად მოითხოვა ჩემი გადაყენება.
The president called me early in the morning, November 6th. He said, "I just met with Zurab Zhvania, who categorically demands my resignation." I was aware of this meeting, and Shevardnadze knew it. He told me, "I know that you know. That's why I'm telling you all this." It was November already, and elections were scheduled for November 2nd, with voters mobilized and transported to polling districts. The process was picking up. So I told Shevardnadze, if my resignation is key, if it's necessary, I'll come over and write a resignation letter. He replied, "Hold your horses. I've scheduled a Security Council meeting for 6 o'clock this evening. Let's go over it then."
არაო, ნუჩქაროფო, ნუცხაროფო 6 საათზე დღეს უშიშროების საბჭოს ხდომა დავნიშნეო და იქო ვიმსჯელოთო ამ საკითხებთან დაკავშირებით.
All these statements like, "This one must resign, and we must remove that one, or else we'll do this or that, and take to the streets," they suggest that someone doesn't want elections to be held. I didn't get much support from my colleagues, but this did not matter much either. I saw an infuriated Shevardnadze banging his fist on the table and saying, "I will not let anyone edge out my people one by one, and I want everyone to know it." As for spreading rumors, I request the prosecutor's office to report and submit an explanation to the Security Council's meeting. Who facilitates these rumors about officials gathering in the state minister's apartments, conspiring to put to use the Russian scenario for overthrowing the president?
President როგორც მიღებული ამბობენ პრეზიდენტის გარამოწვიდან და გეგმებს ადგენენ როგორ მოხდეს პრეზიდენტის გადაყენების რუსული ვარიანტის გამოყენება საქართველოში.
If necessary, you can ask me, and I will explain how it's all done.
Revolucijas periodamde, uprostrat 2003-ში, მე ვფიქრობ,
The bad part was that in 2003, serious negotiations were in full swing behind his back. Hello, Animiro Tadze, Akhali Taoba. Mr. President, let me go back to the conspiracy. Why? Are you a participant? I was just talking to Mr. Shevardnadze. I never spoke to anyone else. Others held talks with people from various levels of government. In fact, with every authorized decision maker. Those were separatist talks. I am absolutely sure that Shevardnadze was unaware of these talks. Zhirinovsky, in one of the Russian publications, made a statement on this issue. Oh, my old buddy. Yes, he predicted your nearing fall from power. Yikes. I'm not really. I have vivid memories of my first attempts at settling things down. This unnerved my supporters and friends. They couldn't understand why I was trying to take the sting out of the situation. And I remember one phrase. Without identifying its authors, it goes something like this. Amazingly, you don't understand that right now, the worse the situation, the better. But this was categorically unacceptable to me, because my goal was not to be in power. ჩემთვის ეს კატეგორიულად მიუღებელი იყო, იმიტომ რომ ჩემი ამოცანა არ იყო ხელისუფლებაში ყოფნა. My goal was to be in power in order to do something for my country. My goal was to lead the country toward a revolution. President Shevardnadze has turned into dictator Edward Shevardnadze. This buck-naked boy comes to me and takes credit for everything. One reform, then another one, then one more. But the truth is that much of what has been done in Georgia, over the past decade, for example, has taken a lot of hard work and effort. God forbid that someone this brazen should come to power. Then we'll see what kind of Georgia he can build. The key here is that the West left Shevardnadze in the lurch. If there were any factors expediting Shevardnadze's departure, they were coming from Russia, not from the West or the US. It was a Russian project. And the main reason likely lay in the impatience of those young people. They challenged one another in a rat race. Needless to say, Americans and others considering candidates who would be next in power. In other words, they were preparing whoever would come next. Of course, in doing so, they worked towards their own agenda.
ამიტომ ისინი შემდეგს ამზადებდნენ. ამ შემდეგის მომზადებაში ისინი რა თქმა უნდა თავის დასაყრდენს იქმნიდნენ.
მაგრამ ამავე დროს მე ხომ უნდა ვიფიქრო იმ შესახებ რომ მე ხომ მეხმარება.
At the same time, I am obligated to appreciate the fact that the US is helping us. I am head of state, president, I am the government, and I receive $80 million from them every year. They're doing this for us, on the request and appeal of the government. At the same time, they have a right to say that they want to work with the opposition, because today's government may be gone tomorrow. And then the opposition will come to power, and they need to set the stage today to work with the opposition tomorrow. I appreciate this American policy and its every detail. Soros, for example, financed the Kamara movement. Another American organization financed something else. All right, there's nothing wrong with financing a cause benefiting children, for example, but you need to steer away from politics. Politics is none of your business. Of course, Americans had their own agenda, and so did Soros. He was upset with Shevardnadze for rejecting his proposal earlier. So Soros was doing his thing, but he and the US administration had their own views on things, and these views clashed. So I wouldn't say that Soros and the US acted in concert, not necessarily. That's why I'm not upset or surprised. Not at all. And I'm not saying that, because Shevardnadze is a loyal, honest supporter of the US, and they should neglect the opposition. And that would be wrong. I heard many Americans admit that they looked at those impatient youth as Shevardnadze's students, someone he relied on. This was the main reason why they were acceptable to the US.
ერთხელ მე ეს მითხრა ესეთმა ქართველმა ადამიანმა, როგორიც არის შალიკაშვილი.
John Shalikashvili once told me, "We accept them and lobby on their behalf because we take them for Shevardnadze's people, someone he relies on." They were preparing those young people and considering singling out a concrete candidate, but it never crossed their minds that Shevardnadze would leave immediately.
ეს აუცილებლად იყო, მაგრამ ერთი წამით არ ქონიათ მათ იმისი დაჩქარება, რომ აი შევარდნაძე ახლა უნდა წავიდეს. 2002 წელს ქონდა შეხვედრა.
In 2002, there was a meeting with Voloshin, the head of the Kremlin administration and second in command. To my surprise, the Russians started defending Misha, and I said, "All I hear from you and Minister Primakov is that Misha is driving a wedge between Georgia and Russia, and that he is an unacceptable figure to you. How so?" "No, we have no problem with him," they replied. "He criticizes Shevardnadze more than anyone else. He does, but you don't." Then I told them, "Shame on you. What kind of argument is that? Is this the state's argument formulated by a public official? We have him under control, so we don't have a problem with him. He comes to us. Meetings are held with him. I haven't met him, though not yet. He receives consultations and money. You think it's a doppelganger? Please, he couldn't double even if he wanted to. It takes composure, a different kind of wisdom." I told him. "He'll start playing a game of his own, and then he'll get us both in trouble. This trouble may play into your hands, but for us, this trouble means what it is, trouble."
მე ვიცი რომ ეს მოძრაობები იყო რომ მოსკოვშიც ჩაიყვანეს სააკაშვილი რობიზამისმა.
I know for a fact that Saakashvili visited Moscow. His uncle introduced him to Voloshin. They also visited a number of high offices. He was singled out explicitly as someone who would take Russia's interests into account.
რუსეთის ინტერესებს და ამ საკითხებს ეს ღიად პირდაპირ ის იყო ნათქვამი.
In that period, Saakashvili, serving as chairman of Tbilisi's Municipal Assembly, drove around town in a car given to him by Giorgadze. For 6 years, he was schooled in quintessential Russian, Soviet KGB-style traditions, subsequently spending a year and 10 months in America. Where did he serve? In the KGB forces. He said in a 2000 interview with Ogonyok magazine, "I am proud to be a KGB sergeant." His words, it's printed in the magazine. I didn't put them in there.
ჩემთან ოფიციალური კონტაქტები ჰქონდათ ამერიკის შეერთებული შტატების წარმომადგენლებთან.
American representatives maintained official contact with me, and I must admit that none of these officials, neither Colin Powell, with whom I had regular communication over the phone, nor anyone else, wanted Shevardnadze overthrown or endangered. Of course, there were some who wanted an easily controllable force to come to power in 2003.
უბრალოდ რა თქმა უნდა იყო ძალები, რომელსაც უნდოდა რომ უფრო ადვილად კონტროლირებადი მათი გადმოსახედიდან უფრო ადვილად კონტროლირებადი ძალა მოსულიყო ხელისუფლებაში 2003 წელს.
მისი პრაქტიკულად მისი ამოცანა ბოლო ხანებში იყო რუსად. ერთ-ერთი და მაგას შეეწირა.
To all intents and purposes, he focused on Russia in the latter period, and that eventually ruined him to some extent. The only thing he requested from the US was pressure on Russia to withdraw from Abkhazia, but Americans would not lift a finger. In response to his grumbling, they reasoned like, "Okay, here's this persistent politician who won't stop chastising us and demanding assistance in solving a territorial problem. So why don't we just get rid of this Shevardnadze and install someone less important?" And that's exactly what they did during the Rose Revolution. In a conversation about the coup a few years ago, I said, "If someone is really into an overthrow, let him turn over in bed."
ამერიკელები ფიქრობდნენ ალბათ, რომ შევარდნაძე არ ასახელებს კანდიდატს.
Americans must have assumed that Shevardnadze was not going to nominate a successor. While America is investing so much, are we supposed to wait for him to endorse a candidate? They must have wondered. What if he doesn't name anyone, or nominate someone we don't like? What if he is overthrown before endorsing? Consequently, America would not take chances, and I don't rule out a possibility that they meant to engage in this political struggle in the first place. On the flip side, it was perfectly clear to Americans that this would not happen without Russians. So concrete steps were in order in this direction too, to strike a balance between the two sides and help them sink their differences on a possible successor. In a nutshell, they took this aspect into account too. The idea of confluence of interests seems plausible to me, but was it an American project? They, the younger faction, were fluent in English, well-educated, and charismatic. They had close relationships with Europeans and Americans, and they were capable of acting independently. Americans may have liked them, but not unconditionally. I remember a series of meetings with Americans, including the ambassador and others, right before the revolution. Those conversations proved otherwise. Ambassador Miles constantly emphasized that he hated Misha. He is crazy. That's all he ever told me about him. Over the final 5 days before the revolution, America decided to let things spin out of control.
გარე ფაქტორები ალბათ ძალიან მნიშვნელოვან როლს თამაშობს უკვე იმ პროცესებში, რასაც ქვია შემდეგ ვარდების რევოლუცია.
External factors probably played a critical role in the process called the Rose Revolution. If anything, considerable financing was channeled toward the country's media for investigative projects, to support Kamara, and so on. A considerable amount of finances was flowing into the country, and young politicians enjoyed support. But what underpinned this support? Objectively and honestly, the then authorities had grown somewhat old. Every government, after 5 or 6 years in power, causes fatigue. A strong young wave was on the rise, and that brought about significant external support.
აი ბოლოს უკვე ამერიკელებმა ბოლო ეტაპზე სადღაც 5 დღით შეიძლება 6 დღით ადრე ყველაზე უკეთეს შემთხვევაში ნეიტრალიტეტი დაიჭირეს.
In the last 5 or 6 days, Americans opted for neutrality. With clear support from the U.S., they wouldn't have taken this step. It's clear as day. This is not my version, but what I witnessed in person. I'm just stating the facts. There was no assistance here, nothing to rely on at home, and Russia supported Saakashvili. They specifically supported Saakashvili. Ballots were being printed at that time. There were constantly circulating rumors that the ballots would be fraudulent or printed in excessive volumes. I took the easy way out. I invited the members of all opposition parties into the Central Election Commission and told them, here, split these up. Here's a prints list. Come in groups of 2, one from the government and the other from the opposition, and watch the count staff like a hawk to avoid complaints about the ballots afterwards. Then Security Minister Valery Kaburdzanya called me. Which printing company are you using for ballots? I replied, you're the security minister. Everyone at the Central Election Commission knows where we print ballots. But you're having a hard time figuring this out? But that's not the point. The point is that after things started boiling over, Kaburdzanya called again. Is there any way we can help Misha win? What do you mean, I asked. I have information that otherwise something bad will happen. And then I told him, aren't you the minister who has no idea where ballots are printed? No, unless you're in on it with him, how do you know that something bad is about to happen?
მაგრამ მე ბატონ ედვარდი მოვიდა კანცელერიაში და მისივე სართულზე სათათბირო ოთახში.
Then Mr. Shevardnadze arrived at the chancellery to hold a meeting in his private meeting room for about 60 persons. Ministers, the bloc's leaders, who had already earned degrading nicknames from the public, they all attended and gave speeches, singing the same tune. A glorious victory is won. In fact, we have enough seats for a constitutional majority. In a nutshell, they competed in saying that black was white. Now that we can reach out to everyone and are about to win a constitutional majority, we're all set.
ვინაიდან ახლა ჩვენ იმათაც და ამათაც ველაპარაკებით და ეს საბოლოო საკონსტიტუციურობაზე გავდივართ და ასე შემდეგ. ამ დროს დამთავრებულია ჩვენი ამბავი.
ციფრები გამოიყურებოდა ასე 21% ქონდა მეათედებს აღარ ვიტყვი 21% ქონდა.
Results rolled in 21% for the governmental bloc, 20% for the Democratic Union for Revival, 19% for Saakashvili, and 3 other parties. 6 parties won seats in the parliament, but the funny thing about the percentage was never more than 100. Some people started making statements claiming electoral fraud, but they were the ones who rigged the electoral roll. And I'm standing by these words. It was just an excuse for them to assume power.
სხვადასხვა სუბიექტების შეერთების გაერთიანების პირობებშიც კი უმრავლესობა არავის არ ეყოლებოდა.
With coalition building bringing together various entities, there would be no majority. Instead, it would be a most effective parliament, much like the one in 1992. But that was the last thing anyone wanted. What Misha wanted was usurpation of authority, a goal achievable through a coup, pulled off on the pretext of vote rigging. He was not afraid to talk to people. Even in the most critical of situations, he knew that it was the best way to solve problems. So he never backed out from dialogue, taking the initiative in the face of danger. No matter what, he was never afraid to look people in the eye and speak to them, however aggressive they may have been. We tried to stop him due to safety considerations. And then, of course, he took it out on us. Let me go. Before these events at 7 a.m., November 23rd, he told me, I must go outside and face the people demanding my resignation. What kind of people? You be the judge. We noticed that they were constantly on the phone, probably with their leaders. And then all hell broke loose, screaming and shouting. Especially vocal were the young people chanting Kmara, enough. The day before yesterday, I called in some of your leaders, Misha, Zurab. Hold on. The demonstrators' leaders showed up. Get on the other side, they told the crowd, and herded them across the street from the governmental palace, effectively isolating them from Shevardnadze. Apparently, they didn't want him to speak to them. Resign. Nothing is being done. I know. We're all unarmed. You think I'm armed? You're a brave man. Just hold on for a second. Send delegates, like 5 or 10 people, and let's talk. I'm also inviting Ms. Buzhanadze, Zurab, Saakashvili. Who else is there? Let them come and we'll talk. What else can I do? Let's go tell Mr. Saakashvili. I'll let them both know. It's better this way. The leaders are here. Tell them to come. Make a TV announcement. Why, these people did not come here for nothing, did they? You can yell at me as much as you want, but I won't be intimidated. You have no reason to be afraid. Mr. President, your people on the ground are keeping us in the dark. It's their fault that we were brought here. We gave you 1 vote, they added 4 stolen votes. They're lying to you. We have so much respect for you. You're a great politician, but people are lying to you. I'm from Sagarejo. We gave you 1 vote, Godspeed, but they did add 4 more. Let's get together and talk. Street quarrels won't cut it. Then Misha arrived. They blocked the road and wouldn't let us through. There was no place or time to argue, so we decided to whisk him away. We needed safe passage for the president's car. Misha, a psychopath that he is, went berserk. He freaked out and became physically violent. The security guards were forced to restrain him. He kept hurling maternal insults. Why? Because he was scared silly. Direct contact with Shevardnadze threatened to ruin his plans. I knew I couldn't count on a round of applause. I was aware of the reaction people would have. But no matter how hard, difficult, and humiliating this meeting promised to be, I had to go outside because they were my people, my children, and my grandchildren. Some from the regions, older people. I was really into having a serious conversation with them.
What
happened in 2003, meaning the revolution, could have been avoided until the very last moment, because at that famous meeting in Khertsanisi, Saakashvili, surprisingly enough, did not demand Shevardnadze's resignation. All he wanted at that point was a revote. We can sit at the table. When talking about Shevardnadze's entourage, I can reaffirm that he did not have accurate information about the actual size of the crowd in front of Parliament, about their sentiments and attitudes, about whom they actually supported or opposed. Otherwise, I am convinced he would have made a decision to announce new parliamentary elections, which would have saved the country many problems it eventually ended up facing.
We were
sincere in our demand to schedule a revote. I even appealed to him. You are not running in these elections. Why this principled stance then? Your resoluteness would be somewhat understandable if we had a presidential election, but these are parliamentary elections. I apologize. I had to leave the meeting early because of Shevardnadze's refusal to work with me. Let me make it clear that President Shevardnadze has brought us here to buy time. He has made a deal with Putin and Abashidze, and he has decided to employ their help to neutralize the opposition in Georgia and legitimize stolen elections. Once again, I want civil peace, a normal transition, but this man is pushing the country toward a civil conflict. But no chair in Georgia is worth a civil confrontation and bloodshed. This is why we want to resolve the situation through a peaceful fight.
და მე გეტყვით, მე ვთვლი რომ მომხდარიყო ისე, როგორც პრინციპში მე მიმაჩნდა სწორად, რომ საპარლამენტო უმრავლესობაში ყოფილიყავით ჩვენ.
I believe that with things happening the way I considered right, meaning our winning a parliamentary majority, with Shevardnadze remaining president for some time, and such revolutionary changes avoided, except in the parliament and government, the country would have taken a different course of development. Unfortunately, though, it couldn't continue any longer. Do you have any comment? Stop talking all at once. Besides overturning the elections, did the opposition put forward any other demands? Not everyone wanted the elections overturned. Who in particular? I'd rather take the fifth, at least for now. This rally is unsanctioned. Will the president allow an unsanctioned rally in the country? Funny you should mention that. The rally is unsanctioned, though I still believe that, under the circumstances, banning it would be wrong. I have repeatedly forgiven Mikhail for bad-mouthing and insulting me. We must overthrow Shevardnadze. We must drive the final nail in his coffin. We must topple the government. We will do it at all costs. How much longer should I put up with it? At first, he seemed more or less normal, but then he threw a tantrum, as usual. I took the initiative and said, "You know me as a polite person, and it takes a lot to fluster me, but Mikhail has his talent. What can you do? Good luck with it." Mikhail told me that he was a recipient of some award, a graduate of some university, and things like that. Well, it's sort of embarrassing to bring this up, but if he is a recipient of 5 awards, I have garnered 30. I don't mean to boast here. Have you ever heard me talk about these things? But I was forced to, even though I don't care about this stuff. And you can't really impress me with it. I probably shouldn't have spoken so much about it, and I must have been above that, but I just couldn't help it. Each of the 3 seemed to give the heebie-jeebies to the other 2. Our relationship was very complex. I could never accept Saakashvili. Before the elections, he offered me the top spot on the National Movement's party list. But that was unacceptable to me, because I found many of his personal traits and principles objectionable. Had it not been for the revolution, we would have never joined forces. But revolutions have their own rules and specifics. It was not so much due to the opposition's success as it was because of the mistakes Shevardnadze's campaign staff and entourage made and possibly led him to make. They viewed things from the wrong angle, and they misguided Shevardnadze. More than anything, they persuaded him to resign and add fuel to the fire. That's the kind of people he had around him, and, unfortunately, there were many. They convinced him that they could bring MPs in. I objected. "Mr. Shevardnadze, how will you bring them in if the building is picketed?" No, they assured me that they can. We have enough power after all. He promised to make sure that this government will rot in prison and things like this, which I cannot even repeat. So low.
საქართველოს კიდევ 37 წელი ჭირდება? ციხეებში დალპობა ჭირდება ხალხს? გინდა პრეზიდენტი იყოს, გინდა მინისტრები იყოს, ხვები იყვნენ.
Another 1937 was the last thing Georgia needed. Making people rot in jail? The president, ministers, and ordinary citizens alike? Is this what we need? Is this what we need today? He must have been out of his mind when he addressed the government and pretty much the entire population with such words. It's unbelievable. What's Georgia coming to? The night before these events, a close associate from the Interior Ministry came to me and said, "They'll storm the parliament tomorrow. You can take it to the bank. Please reschedule the parliament session and start in the morning, no later than noon." I went to see Shevardnadze the next morning at 8:15. I told him everything, including the identity of my source. He said, "So, Saakashvili has decided to storm the building and sabotage the session. What should we do?" "We should start as early as possible," I suggested. "No," he said, "I've already announced the time, and I can't reschedule it. I think you're overreacting." "Why, Mr. Shevardnadze?" I objected. But you know what kind of man Shevardnadze was. He could see beneath the surface. "Well, what do you know?" he said. "Before you called me last night, Nino Burjanadze and Zurab Zhvania came to see me. They said, 'Mr. Shevardnadze, we're with you. Just make sure we get seats in the parliament. Don't leave us high and dry.'" They were begging, and so is Misha. He wants to come second in the race. In a nutshell, riots are not in their interests. His words put me at ease. If Zhvania is currying favor with Shevardnadze, and so is Burjanadze, and if Misha is begging for a second spot in the race, then things should not get out of hand. This is exactly what his entourage and election staff were counting on, a grave mistake. With a protest rally kicking off at 2 p.m., who schedules a parliament session at 4 p.m.? I made my position clear, but it fell on deaf ears. That man called me again. It's about to happen, 100%. But this time, I couldn't get a hold of Mr. Shevardnadze. I tried, but I was told that he was working on his report, accepting no calls.